Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments, but before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Happy new moon, first of all, and solar eclipse day. I always feel grateful to be here, doing these experiences with all of you on these special days. And personally, there's no other thing I'd rather be doing than doing good practices, taking care of my life force, helping the body feel and experience its deeper and natural vitality. You know what I mean? We're in this kind of co-partnership with our bodies and our minds, where in a certain way they take care of us, the body takes care of us, the heart is always beating for us, the liver is always working for us. But also we should also think of it as we also need to take care of the heart, and we need to take care of our liver. It's a great gift to be alive. And so when we can feel that, the realness of that it is a great gift to be alive, then we'll very naturally appreciate our body and want to help it. And that's just one way of being conscious, and not just that word gets thrown around so much, like conscious, conscious, conscious. Sometimes I'm just like, enough of the conscious. But in this case, it's giving it specific context. It's being conscious of what it means to be alive. It's recognizing that none of us have all the answers, and that we're living in a great place of mystery and wonder. And that's where we can find the greater joys in life, is through what the great North Indian sage Guru Nanak called Vismad, wonder, to live in wonder. to not be so gripped onto our knowingness of things, and not just assuming that things are the way they seem they are, and that there's magic everywhere. Is that there's nowhere that it's not that, oh, on a solar eclipse day that's magical. Sure, but every day is magical. That's all there is when I was driving down, we live in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, in the Nevada City, California area. Fantastic part of the world. And I was driving over here from our home. I know Leah, who's here with us, took the same drive because she lives down the street from me. And you go down the hill, and you just we're in the forest. So then things open up, and you can just feel the energy coming off all of these living creatures, these living beings, the beautiful trees, but like a whole community of trees that are all interwoven together. Their root systems are interwoven together. And you can feel that coming off of it, can't you? But we're like that too. All of life is like that. All of life is interwoven together in a more subtle type of root system. So even though we're all over the world, some people are in Norway, some people are in Idaho, some people are in Greece, some people are in Africa, some people are in Russia, etc. We're all part of the same fabric. And so what I do in my life affects you, and what you do in your life affects me, and how we feel and our level of gratitude at some level, at some very subtle level. That is the insight of all the great sages, of all the great yogis from all over the world, is that this is an interwoven web of life that we're all not just looking at. We're not outside of it. We are part of it. Our bodies are not experiencing nature. Our mind and our eyes are not observing nature. It is part of nature. It's just as much of the nature as that network of forest that I was observing. And so it's nature experiencing nature. We're not above it. As soon as we think we're above nature, nature quickly lets us know that we're not above nature. We can get great natural forces that come into our life that change everything. Sometimes it could be like a natural disaster, like a forest fire, or a hurricane, or an earthquake, or something like this. This is a part of life. It's very natural. Been happening at some way or shape or form as long as we know. But sometimes those natural forces come in some ending of a relationship that we may be experiencing, or beginning of a new relationship that we may be experiencing. I heard a great quote this morning from Martin Prechtel. The great teacher Martin Prechtel. You can check out his books on Amazon and so forth. But I wrote this one down this morning when I heard him say it. God lives in the force field between two opposing things. That's pure yoga. God lives in the force field between two opposing things. So a relationship ends, a relationship begins. A new baby is born, a person passes on. These are the natural cycles of life. Everything is magnetic here. There's electromagnetism to the earth. There's electromagnetism to the sun. And the sun flares, we know, affect the magnetic field of the earth. So what happens when, say, the moon goes in between the sun and the earth? Definitely it affects the electromagnetism of the planet. But because the vast majority of minds, or we don't know the vast majority, I shouldn't say it like that. Because what dominates the mainstream of life is mostly based in materialism, that, we don't get yet reports on how an eclipse is going to be affecting our subtle lives, like our emotional lives, or how it may be, not how it's going to be. Consider this. One day, I think that will also be in even our news, hopefully, and that type of things. We would have very, very benevolent powers that are broadcasting such things and just saying, hey, everybody, be kind to one another. People might be really going through it right now, because the whole magnetism of the planet is going to have a little bit of a kind of pattern disruption. Not a bad thing. It's a necessary thing, or we could even just say it's a natural thing. Eclipse has been happening ever since this has been here, every year. Doesn't mean that, okay, just because it's mathematical and it happens every year, doesn't mean that it's non-significant. It's very significant, I think, because as again Nanak said, he said the earth was established in this Japji. The earth was established as a place where spirit could come and experience itself within itself, could come to grow and evolve and to blossom and to bloom. And that blossoming and blooming process he called Vigas, which is bliss, which is normally translated as bliss, but the word Vigas, its very connotation is that it's forever blossoms and blooms. It doesn't just blossom like a rose and then it dies. That's the natural order of things. But in between the two opposing forces, this is where, quote unquote, God dwells. You might not use that semantic God. You may use something else. It could be reality dwells, truth dwells. The supreme love, the supreme realness dwells in between negative and positive forces, in between masculine and feminine forces, in between north and south poles, east and west poles. So just the same as us human beings are magnetic creatures, all living beings are. But particularly the human being is very interesting. The place where we can come and be conscious of ourselves. To where you have at the base of your spine one pole, and then at the crown of the head a second pole, like a magnet. And this is what we start to understand when we're paying attention to not only just the material part of our life, but also to the subtle part of our life. And so in that case, even in the context of your body, you will start to pay attention to the subtle energies that move through your body, what the yogis call prana, or what in the Orient they also call chi, life force intelligence, really life force love intelligence. It's that energy which is beating the heart. It's that energy which is, how does the liver know how to do its job? Are you teaching it? How do the muscle cells know how to choose protein, and the bone cells know how to choose calcium? Did you train your body to do that? We did not. So there's a natural intelligence already here. That's what yoga and meditation is all about. How can I get the natural intelligence to be the most predominant thing that is operating this organism? But we have our mind, and we have our subconscious mind. And so from the Western kind of languaging point of view, you could talk about the subconscious mind. But that essentially, in the more yogic languaging, you would be talking about karma, karmic patterns. In other words, the habitual tendencies that the mind has, the momentums that the mind has, the thinking tendencies, the emotional tendencies, and the desire tendencies, these inner patterns that we have. It's not that we don't want to be happy. It's that we do want to be happy, but there are patterns that are kind of obstructing our happiness. And so what the yogic practices are all about is becoming aware of that. And that's also the wonder of things. It's not, oh my God, something's wrong with me. It's those tendencies, though, do prevent us from experiencing reality how it is. And then we can investigate that and find out is if we can really tune into the space between the two opposing forces, which is what these practices help us to do. Because how can we be in between our pleasures and our pains, our ups and our downs, the smooth times in our lives and the rocky roads in our lives, the times when things are just going fantastic and the times where it feels like everything's falling apart. We're all going to have both of those types of times. So that's why the yogis say what's important to go in the between space. And that's where you'll find real happiness, actually. That's where you'll find real love. That's where you'll find real, true, what we could call, or what, let's just use the word Nanak used in that case, vigas. Because that's, when we talk about bliss, we're not talking about something that becomes more inflated when things are going good. And we're not talking about something that contracts when things are going difficult and painful. We're talking about something that blossoms and grows in both of those situations. And sometimes you're experiencing it actually blossoming more in painful situations because you have no other comforts to lean on. When suffering really comes, which it has for so many of us recently. But we could also say that at any period of time in life, no matter what transit is happening in the sky, you could always make that statement. When suffering comes around, as it has for so many of us lately. But maybe even this time, right now, even more so, because collectively it's been very difficult. It's been very difficult for us. And so, what is the transformation process that is wanting to happen? Again, these are natural cycles of life. It's natural for a hurricane to be born sometimes. It's natural for the earth to shake sometimes. Now, I also, of course, we are, just like we're in cooperative partnership with our own bodies, we're in cooperative partnership with Mother Earth. It's a living organism, this whole thing, and we're a part of it. So the more that we can be in good harmony with it, the more that we will experience the extremes of the polarizations. And we can then create greater and greater cultures, societies that will help to nourish that ability to dwell in the goodness of life. This is what it's all about. That's what all the great cultures are about. They all possess that wisdom. All the indigenous cultures, all the rich spiritual cultures around the world. And of course, those rich spiritual cultures around the world also become corrupted over time. Because that's what human beings do, because we have what? Mental patterns, emotional patterns, desire patterns that are not necessarily in alignment with how to be in harmony with nature, how to be in harmony with life's goodness, how to be in harmony with what is substantively real. What is substantively real is love. It's undeniable when you experience love. And when you experience love in that type of more subtle way, and it's only subtle, what's the difference between more dense love and more subtle love? More dense love has very specific requirements for it to exist. You see what I mean? Well, number one, that love better be flowing in the other direction, and 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 everything is operating within my expectations for that love. That's a very superficial love, of course, but we all experience that and have that at times, even in our romantic partnerships or in our relationships with any of our friends or family members. These are family members, relationships, friends. These are people we have deep karmas with. So from time to time, yes, those are going to be triggers that are coming. So then when things are very difficult and you feel animosity from others, does that love disappear? That will give us a good kind of measuring with like how substantive is that love. Subtle is more substantive. There's less boundaries. And so even though I may have to have personal boundaries, because I need to protect my precious life force. And that's for each and every one of us, precious, innately precious, every living being. That's why there's a precious baby and child in one part of the world is not any more or less precious than a baby in some other part of the world. But when we've had kind of imperialized culture kind of take over the earth, you start to have these superiority complexes that enter into the hive mind, the cultured mind, the mind of our cultures. And so by recognizing our own preciousness, then we'll very naturally recognize that every living being is precious. And so then, even in the difficult situations where we're experiencing animosity from another person, we can still experience the preciousness of their existence too. That's more emotional maturity. To not lose sight, to not lose feel of the preciousness of the other person, even if they wish to harm us, or even if we're having emotional energies that are wishing to harm them. You have to be real with ourselves to know where we're at so that we can grow from there. If we're just acting like there's nothing wrong with these patterns are all fine-tuned perfectly. That's why you get some folks with lots of exaltation in their horoscope. That sounds so fantastic. But sometimes, if the Dharma's not in place, what you'll get is a human being that just already thinks they'll know everything and they'll tell you all about it. And they'll have just the most tremendous conviction in that, even if it's not reality. So, anyhow, when we have that more giving type of a heart, once again, always important to mention, that doesn't mean that we're over-giving of our life force. We have to have boundaries so that we can do what we're here to do. What we're discussing here is what is the inner relationship of the heart. And that's why we need wisdom to go with our compassion. And that's what my friend Wasfia, we were on Instagram Live last night talking about this very thing, really. And she said that very beautifully, pointed out that compassion without wisdom is codependence. So it's the wisdom that shows you where you need to protect your life force. It's the wisdom that shows you also, though, that gives you the perspective that you can share your love and compassion and simultaneously protect your space. And so they call that in the Tantric Buddhist tradition, the bodhicitta, the two wings of the same bird, is both compassion and wisdom. They have to go together. And when that becomes what our practices are centered around, then it helps to make our life centered around that. So not only are we going to do these exercises to help our body have more vitality, to help our mind have more clarity and calm and peace, but also to continue to cultivate our warm-heartedness and our sense of even more substantive kindness in ourselves. And that becomes the center point for me of the practice. Because everything else, when it flows through that, it tends to work. It gives you a more sustained happiness. Not just I feel so great, the body feels so great. Everything, all of a sudden I feel high, lifted from the practice. It's good for that too. But that's not the main thing. That's just also a kind of nice effect. But the deeper thing is us becoming happier, us experiencing deeper meaning in our life, deeper sense of purpose on very, very naturally on a regular basis. That has to do with connecting into our substantive energies, substantive mind, substantive heart, substantive wisdom. We all have that. That is the definition of nature. And we are that nature. We are part of that. We are a living part of that. That part of nature that can become conscious of its consciousness. So that's the joy, and that's a wonderful thing to do during an eclipse, because while the energy is very unsettled for most material things, it's the subtle energy is very available, and so it's a very opportune time to do a practice. In fact, they say it's exponentially more effective when an eclipse comes around, to do Dharma practice, to do meditation practice, to do mantra practice, to do yoga practice, etc. So cool. I'm so happy you're here with us today. And we're going to move into these exercises. Everyone just take care of themselves. Trust your own body. I'll be encouraging you, I'm sure, enthusiastically from my end. But first things first, trust your own body and tune in to what you need. Don't ever risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. Just modify or relax out of that exercise if that's the case. And starting next week, of course, we have the summer solstice, which is happening on the June 20th. And one of the primary things I've done in my life over the last 20 years is make sure every winter solstice do something substantive to kind of change the oil, do the total mind-body tune-up. Every winter solstice, every summer solstice, shortest day of the year, longest day of the year. When you work with the energetics, the natural energetics of life, helps you build momentum, helps put the wind behind your sails. If not paying attention to the more subtle rhythms of life, definitely more difficult. So that's what we're doing. And so today, we're going to, just from here, we're going to go on a journey together into these, all of it's a meditation, but first into these more active exercises, using the body, using the breath, using the mind, total tune-up, and go into the meditative space, a very natural thing, the intuitive space, very natural. And from there we can feel, this is what I'm all about. It's, again, we feel our genuine confidence in that space. So that's it. Recalibrate in that on a day like today, on a new moon, starting a new cycle. Wonderful. And to tune in, take your hands, make a little heat. Press the palms together. And chest is lifted up, and the thumbs, knuckles of your thumbs, gently into the sternum as the shoulder blades release down. And the chin is tucked slightly in. And the breath starts to just move through the nose, long and deep. If we're feeling more anxious, using the breath to center the prana. If we're feeling more dull or sleepy, using the breath to stimulate the prana. If we're feeling very clear and meditative, using the breath to enjoy the prana. Fantastic. Okay, friends, let's start moving the body. Come onto the hands and the knees. And like I said, our friend Leah is here helping to demonstrate the exercises. Aki is on the control deck. Worldwide community is feeling present and beautiful. And begin inhaling, the head is up. Exhaling, that is down. Just go your own pace. Starting to work, close your eyes down, breathe through the nose. It's not about making just the maximum stretch. You may kind of really stretch the first few times, but then it's creating more of like a nice rhythm to make the spine nice and supple, to move the cerebrospinal fluid, to keep that's really very much like the battery fluid of your magnetism. And our magnetism is what is being attracted into our life, repelled away from our life, is the centeredness or lack thereof of the psyche and the mental pattern, emotional pattern. So it's about creating a rhythm in centering the life force. Another 30 seconds. Listening now to the sound of the breath. Breathing. Inhale, head is up. Exhale, head is down. Beautiful. Come sitting up on your heels. Your chest will be lifted out, chin slightly in. Hands on the lap. make sure your sit bones are connected. You can use a cushion like Leah's doing if that helps you feel more comfortable. And you're gonna begin like sat, na. Inhale, lift through the chest. And exhale back. Through the nose breathing, close the eyes.
Meditation, deep meditation, deep as we could ever go.
Use the breath.
In meditation forever, in meditation forever, quiet peace cannot be found.
Put some energy into it. Come alive. A substantively rhythmic breathing pattern. Through the nose. Keep going. Deeper the breath, please.
And the hungry will stay hungry as they watch their food become the wealth of another.
Become
the wealth of another. And all our cleverest ideas will still return.
Inhale deeply.
When we meet
Lift through the heart, tuck through the chin. Gently draw the gaze in between the two eyebrows, where the root of the nose meets your skull bone. Exhale. Beautiful. That's called neutralization of the prana. Come back sitting cross-legged. You can do these also in a chair, feet flat on the floor. Neutralizing the life force, neutralizing the polarization of the magnetism. So then vitality, clear-minded, intuitive. Hands to your shoulders, heart open. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Nam, sat, nam, sat, nam, sat, nam. You can work into that rhythm if you want, but just do your own thing. Inhaling left, exhaling right. To the center, your deepest inhale.
Where is the purity?
Suspend the breath.
Where is the purity in the labyrinth of falsehood?
Lift the root lock. Third eye gaze.
Where is the purity?
Exhale.
Where is the purity in the labyrinth
Relax.
of falsehood?
The third eye is the neutralizing center, the pituitary gland. They call it the commanding center, the master gland, where negative and positive neutralize. You can dwell in the between space. That is the heart. So hands to your knees. And then Keep the mind relaxed, yet the breath rhythmic and powerful. Clear the stress in the back and the upper body and the shoulders. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale. Now try it like this. With your pelvic floor engaged, lift up perineum, rectum, sex organ area, and then lift through the heart. Then keep a gentle lifting of the pelvic floor. Give yourself foundation as you continue. Now draw the gaze into the third eye space as you continue. When you work with your core, Mulabandh, the yogis call, lifting, gently contracting perineum, sex organ area, that gives you not only a healthy foundation for your body, less likely to create injuries, but it gives you a deep, strong foundation for the prana. So now when you move the breath and you move the body, it's resting on a strength of your core. Then when you draw the gaze into the third eye, you'll have, with time and with practice, greater capacity to relax your concentration there. Inhale, squeeze up. Squeeze out the tension some. Exhale, release. Come standing. Index finger to thumb, palms facing forward. And it'll be a march. Haika sat, no, sat. It's inhaling up, exhaling down. Knees come up to hip level. Use the breath and use the body. When you get those big muscles of your legs working, the heart must circulate the blood. Use the breath rhythm, give it substance. Work with your chi, your prana, build the inner vitality. Doing so far? We're getting there.
You have taken away my looks and my identity with just a glance, and you have said what can't be said. Ooh, by making me just a glance. In all
30 seconds, no big deal, yeah? Just 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Deeper the breath rhythm.
in all, I give my life to you. Oh, in love,
Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, release. Okay, great job. Now, stretch out the legs. Arms by the side, palms facing down. Fingers are firm, legs are strong. That's your inhale position. Exhale down like so. Then use your core to lift you as you fill your lungs. Beautiful. Inhaling deep as you lift, exhaling as you come down. Through the nose, breathe. Deeper the breath, please. Is lifting the life. Exhale. Okay, good job, everybody. And make your way back to seating. Have a little bit of water. Working with the prana. You'll have your hands in the wisdom seal they call Gyan Mudra, where your Jupiter index seals to the thumb. Palms will be facing up. And we'll do like this. We'll inhale. And through the nose. Equalization of exhale, inhale. Inhale deep. Suspend it for a moment. Suspend the mind. Suspend the breath. Exhale. Remember, it's a process of neutralization. Neutralization is meditation. So exhale and inhale equal strength. Don't forget about the inhale part. And yet, with practice and what we're endeavoring to practice, is to be substantive and rhythmic with the breath. That means it's got to have a power, a depth. But the face and the mind maintain equanimity, we give our try. Inhale deep.
In love.
60 seconds.
In love.
Third eye gaze.
I give my life to
Inhale deep. Suspend the breath. Lift the root lock. Be very still, like an emptied vessel, like a good antenna for the goodness of life. Inhale, raise your arms up high. And just shake, shake, shake. Just shake off the stresses we've been going through. Really loosen everything up, like really shake. Like the stagnant residue of life. Really the real kind of stuck energy, shake, shake, shake. Oh, great. 10 more seconds, go. Keep going, a little more, a little more. And relax. Fantastic. Now, so here we go though. This next part, what time are we? Okay, good. So you're going to come onto your, just a couple of these, you're going to be on your back. Really excellent thing to do. Today especially, but really this time of the year in particular right now, where a lot of the different energies of life are unsettled and challenged. Mars energy, for instance, is weak at the moment. So that means we can use our own Mars energy to make it stronger. And your own Mars energy is what we call, in that context of this week, the really third sacred force of life. And that's your will, your vitality. And that's your engine, your ability to move, to make things happen. What would we want to make happen? Whatever is the dharma of our life is what our Mars is here to serve when we kind of bring it into its higher octave. And its lower octave, it can be a warrior with animosity and causing difficulty when our older subconscious patterns have kind of overtaken our Mars energy. We can take it back by building the inner strength and by bringing our mind and our hearts into the flow of love and kindness, and in our minds into the wisdom of dharma, of meaning, of purpose. So bring the feet together. Take a deep inhale. Fully exhale. Do that again. Bring the feet together, deep inhale. And then fully exhale through the nose. As you do so, feel your low back connecting down to the earth. Again, inhale deeply. Exhale. Feel the navel, your energetic navel, third chakra, Mars, connect down into the earth. And we're going to come into the stretch pose and inhale deeply. Toes are pointed. Legs head 6 inches to 12 inches up. Chest out. And then it'll go. Inhale deeply. Root lock is in, navel is in. Relax, exhale. And again, sisters, if you're on your moon cycle or pregnant, just rest this navel exercise out. And whenever we're doing breath of fire, start doing long, deep breathing. Again, inhale deeply. If it strains your lower back, put your hands underneath your butt, palms facing down. Eyes are on the toes. Toes are pointed. Inhale deeply to come into the kriya, into the posture. Move the navel. Inhale deeply. Draw the root lock in, draw the navel in. Relax, exhale. One last time, inhale deeply. Fully exhale. Come into the stretch pose. Just a few more moments, rhythmically deep navel breath. Inhale, draw the root lock in, draw the navel in. Relax. Relax really well. Let the arms out some, let the legs out, and just feel like you can just melt into the earth. Hug the knees into your chest. And then just rock and roll a few times. Inhale as you rock forward, exhale as you rock back. And come up easy pose. And you're gonna take your thumbs out and your fingers tucked in, like so. And bring those arms up to 60 degrees. With your sit bones connected, your heart lifted, your chin ever so slightly in. The gaze of the third eye. The eyes closed down, the heart open wide. Inhale deep. And breath of fire. Remember, the breath has rhythmic power. Mind is meditative, relaxed. The gaze, optic gaze, third eye. Softness of the heart, no bend of the elbow, releasing of the shoulder blades down the back. And a full mind-body magnetism tune-up. Charge your magnetic field. Inhale. Bring the thumb tips touching. Inhale some more, deep. Fingers stretch wide and tight. Shoulder blades release. Lift through the pelvic floor. Touch the ceiling with your fingertips. Stretch through the spine. Hold the posture. Exhale. Deep inhale. Release the shoulders. Touch the ceiling. Lift the mulban. Meditate the gaze. Third eye. Hold the position, exhale. Last time, inhale. Extension, extension, and slowly relax through your field. There's a great Einstein quote that says something along the lines of the field is the agent of the field is what governs the particle. So the yogis understood that very well. And of course, that's what Einstein would be tuning into. And the great geniuses from all over the planet is what have been tuning into from the beginning of time, nature of reality. He was able to describe it in a way that we can then kind of put it into the Western mind, which is extremely useful and important. And however, he's not the first to discover these things. He's just a unique version of that time and space to discover these things. And so what does that mean? The field, the agent of the field is what governs the particle. If we can make the field strong, in the field of energy, then therefore that helps to govern or to balance, the equilibrium of the organism. So then if there's a healthy field or a healthy energetic network in which to operate in, things tend to operate more efficiently. So here's what we're going to do, and you're going to take maybe some water or something now, because we're doing these 2 kriyas with a little bit of a relaxation in between them. and this is to help prepare. This is to help also. It's to help with many things. It's mostly to just help with life. But what you're going to be doing is working with what they call this Mercury mound. As you may know, when you hear Mercury is retrograde right now. And Mercury is also in pretty much the exact degree of the eclipse today. So Mercury is right in the middle of this eclipse and retrograding. But that's not a horrible thing. That means that some things are going to be much more difficult. And we could go into all that some other time. Not a great time for this conversation. Not a great time for technology. Well, so far so good, but we always just hope. But more importantly, I think, is because we've heard all the negatives, there's also positives. And the positives excellent time to consult your intuition. You know, Einstein had debilitated Mercury. What we consider the most intelligent guy. And Mercury's intelligence. That's what Mercury is. It's a part of it's not the emotional intelligence, but it's what we often think of as intelligence. And so emotional intelligence comes more from the moon. These are the 9 sacred forces that we're working with and that we're going through. That's what our whole summer solstice immersion next week is all about. There's 9 sessions, and each session going through the 9 sacred forces, or in what in the Indian astrology or Jyotish they call is the Navagraha, the 9 grahas. We say often graha is planet, but they're not all planets. They're not just spheres in the sky. They are the forces of the psyche. They are the archetypal forces of nature that when we can become aware of and in tune with and harmonized with, then our life is much better. Our life is more enjoyable because we're able to attune to natural wisdom. The energy of Mercury is a graha. So to be in tune with it right now, you know, Einstein is more of like this seems to me like the kind of the spacey professor, but he's accessing the etheric realms and then able to bring it back, and with his unique kind of wiring and understanding and training in the field he was trained, he was able to put it into a codified formula. So then it can now be decoded and we can understand the nature of reality better. That's what all the yogic practice and teachings are. They're whether it's Vedic astrology, whether it's Ayurveda, yoga, Jyotish, all the different dharmas, they're the codified formulas that help us to then decode nature, reality. And so what we're going to be doing in this kriya is you take your thumb to the base of what they call the Mercury mound, the base of your pinky. And both hands go into the Mercury mound. Let me get the right music here. And then what's going to happen, you're going to create like a prayer pose. Okay? So it's like this. So your thumb's pressed into the Mercury mound. It's going to create a little pressure and stretch and maybe a little uncomfortable. So then you press your thumbs together and you press the top sections of the other 4 fingers together. So it really has to create a little pressure on your thumbs. That's the ego energy, sense of self, ahankara. You're pressing into the Mercury, the communication force. And then the other 4 fingers, you try to press the first section of the finger. So it's a bit of you're not putting yourself in any excruciating pain. It's just a little uncomfortable, a little pressure. You do the best you can. And then you hold it at the heart center with the elbows up at wrist level, kind of parallel to the earth. Again, all of these kriyas creating magnetic fields within the context of the kriya. And so in this meditation, so to speak, you're using an 8-stroke breath. And it's a 8 strokes of the inhale through your nostrils, and then 8 strokes of the exhale through puckered, rounded lips, like the type of lips it would look like if you were whistling. So I'll show you how it goes first. It's like this. Just like that. So 8 segments for your inhale and 8 segments for your exhale through the puckered lips. It's called Ashtang, the 8 rhythm. Bringing the mind into synchronicity, bringing the mind into harmonic rhythm, putting all the chakras in the rhythm. Like keep going. Just do your best. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sa da na ma sa da na sa da na ma sa da na. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep going. Hold the body very beautiful, noble, regal, with your radiance, your sense of real genuine energy and innate beauty, innate intelligence. Now, as you continue with the same rhythm, 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes just 1/10 open, allowing a little light in, and continue as you see if you can draw your gaze down towards the tip of your nose. And a couple more minutes, see if you can keep going. Press into the Mercury Mound if you can. Inhale deep through the nose. Suspend the breath. And now neutralize. Like empty, zero. Hold the position through the nose, exhale. Very deep inhale. Suspend the breath. Suspend the mind. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath, the mind. And exhale. And now relax. And as you're ready, you can relax on your backs. If you wish, you can just stay sitting in a meditative space, but generally encourage to relax on your back. toes and move your toes. Rotate the wrists and ankles. Rub the palms, rub the soles of the feet. And cat stretch to each side. And hug the knees to the chest. And then rock and roll. And now I come out, and this is very much to me like the icing on the cake. Your hands will be in the Jnana Mudra, index finger to thumb, palms facing up at the knees. Heart wide open, lifted, shoulders release. Lifted posture, very beautiful. Vital. You'll close the eyes and then act like you're drinking the breath through the puckered lips, like a slow and then close the mouth and exhale through the nose. Inhaling, drinking the breath through the puckered lips, and then close the mouth, exhale through the nose. This meditation is called beaming and creating your future. It works with the prana, life force, to clear away other distracting thoughts, attachments, and gives you a tremendous capacity to use your creativity in a focused and beaming way. Through the stillness, the neutralization of the psyche, the zeroed psyche, shunya. You can beam and project the mind to create your future. Just a couple more minutes of this first part of the meditation with this breath. Just right now, focus on the breath. Eyes closed down, and a gentle gaze into the third eye space as you drink the breath and exhale through the nose. Concentrate on the breath. When the mind wanders, bring it back to the feel and the sound of your breathing. Now stay in the posture and inhale and suspend the breath in comfortably. And as you suspend your breath in, meditate on zero. Like all is zero. Each thought is zero. My pain is zero. That problem, zero. That illness is zero. Meditate on any negative, emotional, mental, physical condition or situation and zero it. Bring it to a single point of light. And then exhale through your nose. And then repeat, inhaling deeply, suspending the breath, suspending the mind. And just for a couple of minutes, use this as zero technique meditation. Neutralizing each negative energy. Anything that is coming to your mind or is present in your life. Zero. As each thing crosses the mind, bring it to a zero, a single point of light, an emptiness. When you need to exhale, exhale, and then inhale again. Just another minute or so. Have a long, slow, and deep breath through your nose. Like meditative breathing. Deep and slow. And you're going to bring into your mind a quality or a condition you most desire right now for happiness and growth in your life. But summarize it just for now in a single word, like health or prosperity or harmony or guidance, wisdom or compassion or good fortune, a condition or a quality you most desire in your heart, not in your head. And then lock on that word or thought. Feel its energy and the facets of it, expressing itself creatively into your existence and life. And inhaling, suspending the breath as you beam that thought, that feeling in a continuous stream from the heart into all of time and space. And then exhale. And then do it again. Inhale, beaming from your heart. Last moments, beaming. Inhale and exhale. Raise your arms up and shake a little bit. Shake the energy, kind of all this good prana, but now distribute it around into your body, not to get too spacey and flighty, but to help it be contained and embodied in your life. Beautiful, relax. Bravo. To me, that's a wonderful way to spend an eclipse morning. And work with these 9 sacred forces. Which is the first one. I call the sacred force of learning. Learning. But this is Jupiter. Expansion, wisdom, prosperity. But real learning is not a function of the intellect. And learning through Jupiter is the experience of wisdom, and thus the flow of prosperity. Prosperity is the flow of Dharma. So here, though, the Guru is no person necessarily. No any one individual, definitely. It's the living force of wisdom herself. It travels to us via our very breath and life. And by tuning our minds to that great force of Guru, of wisdom, we learn to live the life of a treasure finder everywhere we go. Because we've now experiencing that all of life is intelligence and love. It's always there. Are we there with it? The second is the sacred force of listening. This is Saturn. Saturn brings challenges often, sometimes into our life, but not in a negative way. It's only negative in the sense that we may be experiencing suffering, but it's also a positive way in that it shows us where our blind spots are. It shows us where we can hear better, listen deeper. That's sunya. And sunya, shravana, is another word, is the very point that Saturn is at in the sky right now. It's called the lunar mansion of shravana, of deeply listening. And Saturn for the last year has been there. and has been encouraging the entire population of the earth to listen deeper. This third is the sacred force of loving. This is, right now, by saying the third, this is the sequence that we're going next week in the summer solstice event. Session 1, the sacred force of learning. Session 2, the sacred force of listening. Session 3, the sacred force of loving. This is the moon. Depth, emotion, compassion, forgiveness. All our emotions can be felt like energy in motion on the path of becoming love. And when that moon becomes love, when all energies, all emotions, energy in motion on the path of becoming love, that's the insight of Ayurveda. That's why there's not just sweet tasting things, but also bitter, stringent, pungent, sour, etc. Because we need all of those to metabolize love. And so when that lunar energy, so to speak, in this context, becomes love, it's what they call soma, or bliss. And actually, the eclipse today, that is really going to be it's not just the eclipse day. The eclipse day is the event, but in a solar eclipse especially affects us for weeks to come. And it gives us good indication of the area of our life that really is in a process of growth and transformation, because there's always some area of our life, hopefully, that's in a process of growth and transformation. Otherwise, how are we continuing to blossom? So when that lunar energy becomes fully metabolized at the level of the consciousness, and those energies in motion become sweetness of devotion, love, they call that soma. And so the eclipse right now is in what they call Mrigashira, the lunar mansion of Mrigashira. And it's said that the ruling archetype of that lunar mansion is soma. So this is a good time to be working on that. It's always a good time to be working on that, but it's a very advantageous time to be bringing our emotional, deeper emotional energy into a more expansive, more subtle, and more mature expression of love. Okay, the number 4 is the sacred force of discovery. This is Rahu. This is very deep, wonderful stuff. And this session 4 will be taught by my astrology mentor, Drupada, and many of you know him, I know, and have done sessions with him. And he's a yogi, and he's a yogi's astrologer, really. This is, and he's a wonderful, wonderful teacher, able to take these very far out concepts and just bring them right into your life in the most practical but substantive way. He's a fantastic person. Session 5 is called the sacred force of defending. This is Mars. This is what I was speaking of earlier. Session 6 is the sacred force of speaking. This will be taught and led by Simrit. You see this, all this music you've been hearing, was it everything I played? I think everything I played was Simrit tonight. And so the whole Simrit band for this first time in over, like a year and a half, they all just arrived here yesterday. And so they're going to be in every afternoon session of this immersion. That is going to be broadcasted globally, virtually, and will be the live music from Simrit. So most of what you heard tonight was actually music created at these immersions in the past. Some of the greatest stuff comes to life. So like this is from a Summer Life Force Academy immersion years ago with her whole band. It's incredible. It's amazingly fun as well. It's a really cool experience. I don't want to make it just sound all this like, teaching. It is that too. It's very deep. but it's also joyful, it's fun, it's uplifting. Yes, we wrestle with, inner patterns and all that, but we do that so that we can get to our joy. And we get there, definitely. So that's communication. That's when Mercury now becomes Buddha. That's the name for Mercury in Sanskrit, is Buddha, is awareness, is intelligence. And then 7 is the sacred force of channeling. That'll be the second session with Drupada on Saturday evening, the 19th. And that's K2. And then the sacred force of creating is session 8. This is Venus. This is Sunday morning on the summer solstice day. And then the sacred force of radiating. This is the sun. And that is during the summer solstice time on the summer solstice day. And then so that starts Thursday evening, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Drupada Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Drupada Saturday evening, and then Sunday morning, Venus, Saturday afternoon, peak of the summer solstice, sun, the sacred force of radiating. You can read all about each of these. I was reading some of what's already on your webpage. That is Sunday afternoon. Sunday evening, a full immersion exclusive Simrit concert. So it'll be a celebration Sunday evening. This is the most important event we do every single year. It's all of our favorite event we do every year. It'll be being broadcasted from here in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, where we've been doing this event for over a decade now. But this is the first time we've ever been able to stream it live. There was, over the last COVID year, the venue where we are, it's up in the mountains. There's never been strong enough internet. They put in fiber optics, fantastic internet now. And so we're going to be able to live stream it. And so we'll have a little over 100 people present there physically. That sold out quick because that's half capacity, because we're just following all the guidelines right now and doing it wise and smart. But we're going to have people all over the world who are doing this virtually. And you don't have to be there live for all the sessions. If you can, definitely that's the best. But we're all on different time zones. So my point being is, if you can't be there live, the replay is available immediately once the session's over. So, okay, I can't do this on California time, but I can definitely make a totally great schedule for, London time or New York time or Delhi time. And so it's totally flexible in that way as well. And I want to invite you to join. If you enjoyed this today and you resonating and it feels like something you'd like to do, it's a full tune-up. And by the way, it really doesn't, if you were able to do this class today, and even just able to, if you're still here, then you can totally do this. There's not really beginners, it's not really advanced. It just kind of meets you right where you're at. It's very flexible like that. It works very beautifully. It's really just about working with our body, working with our minds, working with our breath, working with our heart, and spending a substantive amount of time doing that to where we're really inside of that. Because it's great to do something like this a couple hours. We're like inside of it after a couple hours. But then, then you have lunch, and then you go back inside of it. And then in the evening, you go back, but you're doing it as a collective together. And yeah, there's thresholds that you pass through. Often it does provoke a little bit of subconscious stuff as we go through any type of growth activity. We'll do that to where, it may feel, may trigger some of our emotions, anger or sadness or happiness and any of the emotions. We might feel like resistance to some of it at some of the time. That's all kind of par for the course when you're working with the subconscious mind and working to look at the inner patterns that are causing us to have more suffering. But then when we can bring awareness to them very naturally, those same patterns can transform into a much more usable and harmonious expression that's in alignment with what your life is all about. That's called dharma. And that's how you say turning karmas into dharma. And so that's what it is. But going through each of these main archetypes of these navagraha, or 9 sacred forces, really provides us a really nice and inspiring and interesting and fascinating and insightful way of exploring our own minds, bodies, life, our endeavors for our life, the challenges we have, the pathways that we can have to be happier and more prosperous and more healthy and to enjoy our lives and to feel more deeply love. It provides us a quite excellent language and an energy system to work with, because it's our own energy system. So I want to invite you to attend, and you can get all the details on your webpage. And once you get it, you also own it. So you'll be able to, a couple days after the event is over, there'll also be downloads available. So you'll be able to revisit this thing over and over. If you wanted to use it, in a few months to do another personal retreat, you could totally do that. You could do that 2 years from now to do a personal retreat. So you have lifetime access to it. What else do I need to mention? The price is $498 is regular price for the whole thing. But right now, it's on the sale for all of us webcasts, all of you who came to the webcast, and it's only $249 is what we're offering for the whole thing. There's also a payment plan, if that makes it easier, and you can see that there's 2 installments of $139. And the first month, I don't know the details of when that payment plan, but it'll show you on the webpage. And so that's what's up. And if you join in now, it's only $249. It's super easy. It just takes a moment. You don't have to be technologically savvy to do this. You click on the registration. That'll take you to the checkout page. Just takes a moment. You have any questions, Life Force Academy, we have an amazing team of warm, helpful people, and happy to answer your questions, and would love to have you part of it. It's not something that we're just broadcasting the in-person retreat virtually. We know, we're very cognizant, and doing live stream events is something we put a lot of energy into. There'll be far more people doing this online than there will be in person. So this isn't just streaming an in-person event so you can peek in. This is you being a part of it, and we're going to be very interactive with you throughout it. We'll also, not everybody likes to do it, but just like right now, in addition to our main stream, we'll have our Zoom room open to where we can all be in there together. During a couple of the lunches, I'll get in there and we'll chat. We'll hear people's experiences. Other people from our team will be coming in, chatting. It's going to be a very interactive experience also for the whole virtual world, not just for the people in person. We're putting as much energy into the virtual experience as the in-person experience. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that and shared that. It's going to be a cool experience. So anyhow, I hope you can come. And either way, I'm really glad you came today. And shared, spent your precious time with us. And so let's seal our session together. And I think we did a great job. I think we had a nice, super beautiful meditation. I think we used the Eclipse quite wonderfully. And I think now we can enjoy the day and get out in nature if we can. It's a great day to clean your house, by the way. Not a great day to start anything important, but reflect on important stuff, perhaps. Clean the car, get out the vacuum. Awesome. Great day if you live near a body of water. Go swimming, get in the water. Take your hands to prayer pose.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All
Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much. Thanks to our whole team. Takes so much energy to make these all happen. A lot of people involved to do it. Thank you to everyone, and lots of love, friends. And hope to see you in the immersion. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Take care of yourself. You need to rest. Let yourself rest. It's a challenging time in a lot of different ways. So if you're feeling tired and like really worked, you're not alone at all. So, take care of yourself, nurture yourself. Lots of love, everyone. Okay, anyone who's in the Zoom hangout space, I'm gonna go hang out in there for a few minutes. So come on over if you're not over, if you want to chat a little bit. In a lot of ways, you see, regardless of whether you take this all literally or not, this is the training of how to develop the mind to become a happy person. Do you get that out of it? And that's the process we're going through right now. How do I continue to go through my process so that I now have the capacity to orient myself towards helping others?
Is amazing. It really helps you to be more grounded, and it really helps de-stress and takes away your anxiety and your fears. It's such an amazing tool to really become freer as a person and to become more of yourself and get comfortable with yourself.
So that's what a householder yoga life is about, is you're using the rajas of your life, the activity of your life, the stress of your life, the turbulence of your mind, and you're channeling it into more vitality, more consciousness, more love. That is the warrior way.
The combination of the intellectual capacity, the analytical capacity, the way Jaidev explains things to me made a lot of sense. I don't like to do things out of the blue just because somebody says so. And the teachings are very profound from my perspective, and it resonated with me.
Your projection and your mental attitude creates the context for the stress of your life. The whole idea is moving beyond worry and fear. But that's not stuffing the worries and the fears that you have. It's learning to develop the type of character, develop the type of nervous system, type of mental caliber that you know how to not indulge worries. Okay? It takes a lot of power to be able to do that. But fortunately, you have a lot of power. Question is, do you grab hold of it? That's what this immersion is about.
So what I've loved about the immersion is I've been doing the Life Force Academy, not meditating or doing any of these kriyas with anybody else, but to actually be in a room of like 200 people doing these kriyas, it's absolutely incredible.
So yeah, what is really extraordinary about the immersion is to have those teachings of Jaidev, which I've been following for a year now on video, and to have them live, and they're so profound.
Hi, I'm Susan Joy. For 2 years, I have been home in a cabin with my laptop, and 2 years now I have worked hard and feel comfortable here.
Immersion is amazing. It pushes you to your limits, but you're still in a really nice environment.
My favorite part of the immersion has been meeting everybody and having the experience of a lifetime with the most special beings that I've ever really engaged with.
My favorite part is actually connecting with people, because you're in such an open space and you're on a similar path to everyone here, and you kind of get to feel free in this environment and meet a lot of really interesting people from around the world. So.
Amazing experiences, just the connection, the collective. Like when you're at home, you kind of feel like you can't go on, but when you're with this collective of individuals, I feel like I can just keep going and going and going and going, and it helps me push back, like push through all those barriers, and it's just beautiful.
Jaidev, you are absolutely so incredibly powerfully loving and kind, and so wise and full of good prosperity, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and all your love with all of us. It's really an amazing gift. Thank you so much for your gift.
Just the immensity of so many people together, common-minded, common energy, just connected like that. It just feels so good. It really does.
Discovering pure love.
The teachings are awesome. Simmerit is fantastic. Here is so great. Best thing I've ever done.
Jaidev has totally changed my life, and before when I saw you here with the camera and thought about that, like it literally just made me so emotional, because the profound transformation that I have gone through over the last year since, well, almost since the last immersion till now, it's just incredible, and I'm so grateful to be here at the immersion and experience this live and Simmerit band. There's just goosebumps all over me, goosebumps. Yeah, I feel that anyone who is serious about finding their purpose, walking their dharmic path, fulfilling that, anyone who is serious about self-mastery, about coming into their highest and fullest potential in their life, walking their path solidly in the most highest vibration, totally like Jaidev says, polishing your radiance and shining bright in this world.
Okay, so I'm Laura from New York, and I wanted to come to this immersion last year, but some things came up and I wasn't able to go. But this year I made sure no matter what, I was gonna get here. And this has been such an incredible experience for me. I definitely feel that it's life-changing. The last Kriya that we just did at the end, I was totally floating on air. And it's just really beautiful and magical, and I'm so happy to be here, and I wanted to keep going on and on and on.
I love all the love that I feel from everyone within myself and everyone else.